You wake up, and before you even fully open your eyes, that weight is already there. It's not physical tiredness, it's something deeper, more visceral. It's the feeling that another day is about to begin, and you're not quite sure what for. You get up, go through the motions, have your coffee, reply to messages, head to work or class, but everything feels shrouded in a grey fog of insignificance. The people around you seem truly alive, engaged, enthusiastic about things that sound hollow and superficial to you. You smile when you have to, speak when expected, but inside, there's a silent desert where vitality should be. At night, when you're finally alone, the thoughts hit with brutal force. It would be easier to just not exist, not have to pretend another day that all this matters, not have to carry this crushing weight of a life that seems to lead nowhere. You don't necessarily want to die. You want to stop feeling this corrosive emptiness, this devastating absence of purpose that makes every breath feel like an unnecessary effort. And the worst part is, no one around you seems to understand. How do you explain it's not common sadness, not laziness, not a lack of gratitude? For it's something existential, the absence of a compelling reason to keep participating in this game called life. But there is someone who not only deeply understood this pain, but discovered something extraordinary about it in the midst of literal hell on earth. Viktor Frankl, a Viennese psychiatrist who survived Auschwitz, Dachau, and other Nazi extermination camps, realized something that would forever change our understanding of why some people want to disappear, while others, even in the worst imaginable circumstances, find powerful reasons to keep going. What he discovered isn't a magic bullet or cheap positive thinking, but a truth tested at the absolute limit of human suffering, an understanding that can illuminate even the darkest corners of existence and show that the desire to vanish isn't weakness, but a specific symptom of something that can be transformed. Frankl observed something in the concentration camps that defied all logic. There were physically strong prisoners who gave up and died quickly, while others, seemingly more fragile, survived against all odds. The difference wasn't in muscle strength, previous health, or even luck. It was in something far more subtle and profound. Those who had a why to live could endure any how. Frankl saw men who held onto the will to live because they needed to reunite with their wives, finish an important intellectual work, bear witness to the world about what was happening, or simply because they felt their lives still had an unfinished mission. These men, deprived of everything, absolutely everything we normally consider necessary for a dignified life, kept an inner flame burning that protected them from complete existential collapse. Meanwhile, those who lost this connection to a future purpose, who stopped seeing a reason to continue, often fell ill suddenly and died within days, not necessarily from identifiable physical causes, but from a kind of existential surrender that corroded the organism from the inside out. Frankl called this psychogenic death, when the body simply gives in because the person no longer has a reason to fight for survival. And here's the crucial discovery that applies directly to the contemporary desire to vanish from the world. Human beings are not primarily motivated by the pursuit of pleasure, as Freud believed, nor by the pursuit of power, as Adler proposed, but by the search for meaning. When this search is frustrated, when a person doesn't find or loses the meaning of their existence, what Frankl called existential vacuum arises, and it is from this vacuum that the desire to no longer be here is born. Existential vacuum is not clinical depression, though it can coexist with it. It's not necessarily caused by trauma or chemical imbalance in the brain, though these factors can worsen the condition. Existential vacuum is specifically the experience of a life without perceived purpose, without significant direction, without a convincing answer to the fundamental question, why am I here? Frankl observed that this phenomenon was becoming epidemic in affluent post-war societies, and it intensified dramatically in the following decades. We live today in an era of unprecedented material abundance, at least in much of the Western world, but paradoxically, we experience increasing levels of anxiety, depression, and existential despair. We have more comfort, more entertainment, more options and freedoms than any previous generation, but we also have more people reporting that their lives feel empty and meaningless. Frankl would explain this through his theory of neurogenic neuroses. disorders that don't have a primary psychological or biological origin, but an existential one. These are sufferings that arise specifically from the frustration of the will to meaning, from the inability to find or create genuine meaning in one's existence. And here's something disturbing. Modern society, with all its emphasis on pleasure, comfort, material success, and happiness as the ultimate goal, is structurally set up to produce mass existential vacuum. When we teach people that the goal of life is to be happy, to be comfortable, to have pleasurable experiences, and to avoid suffering at all costs, we are actually paving the way for the deepest existential dissatisfaction. Why? Because happiness and pleasure cannot be direct goals. They are always byproducts, side effects of a life lived with purpose and meaning. And now I want to pause and really talk to you. I know many of you watching this video carry this silent weight, this feeling that life, even when it seems to be working on the outside, internally lacks something essential that would make it all make sense. So tell me here in the comments, have you ever felt it would be easier to just not exist than to keep carrying this emptiness? If so, just write, "I feel this existential vacuum," nothing more, and know that by doing so, you are helping other people in the comments feel less alone. I really want to know. Your experience matters, and many people here go through the same thing but carry it in absolute silence. When you share, you not only validate your own experience, but show dozens of others that they are not alone in this search for something that makes existence worthwhile. Let's create a community of courage and authenticity here. Frankl developed logotherapy, a therapeutic approach focused specifically on meaning as a response to this modern existential crisis. The word logos comes from Greek and means meaning, reason, purpose. Logotherapy's premise is that the search for meaning is the primary motivation in every human being's life, and that much contemporary psychological suffering results from the frustration of this fundamental quest. But here's something crucial that radically differentiates Frankl from superficial self-help approaches. Meaning isn't something you arbitrarily invent or pick from a menu. Meaning is something you discover, something you detect in the concrete situations of your life. Each person has a unique calling or mission in life, something only they can accomplish, a specific contribution only they can make to the world. And this uniqueness doesn't need to be grand or publicly acclaimed. Meaning can be found in creating a work, in loving someone deeply, in facing unavoidable suffering with dignity and courage. Frankl identified three main avenues through which we can discover meaning: through something we create or do in the world, through someone we love or experiences we fully live, and through the attitude we adopt toward unavoidable suffering. This last avenue is particularly revolutionary and is where Frankl goes beyond almost all other existentialist thinkers. Most philosophies and psychologies treat suffering as something to be eliminated, avoided, medicated, transcended. Frankl, having experienced suffering in the most extreme degree possible, arrived at a radically different conclusion. There is unavoidable suffering in human existence, and in those cases, the only thing we can do is choose how we position ourselves before it, what attitude we adopt, what meaning we extract from these painful experiences. He saw men in concentration camps who, even stripped of everything, chose to share their last crust of bread with another prisoner. He saw people comforting others when they themselves were in agony. He saw human dignity shining precisely where all dignity should have been crushed. And he understood something profound. The last of human freedoms, the one that no one can take away from you under any circumstances, is the freedom to choose your attitude toward what happens to you. You may not choose what happens, but you always choose how you respond, what meaning you assign, what person you become through the experience. This understanding completely transforms our relationship with suffering. It doesn't make it pleasant or desirable, but it removes it from the category of pure negativity and positions it as a possibility for growth, for the revelation of one's deepest character, for the discovery of meaning even where it seemed impossible for any meaning to exist. But Frankl wasn't naive or idealistic. He knew that not all suffering has meaning. Unnecessary suffering, which can be avoided or alleviated, should be avoided or alleviated. He didn't glorify pain. What he said was that when we are faced with unavoidable suffering, when we confront irreversible loss, incurable illness, or any form of anguish that cannot be eliminated, we still retain the capacity to transform that personal tragedy into human triumph through the attitude we choose to adopt. One of his most powerful clinical cases illustrates this perfectly. An elderly doctor came to him consumed by deep depression because his wife had died 2 years prior and he couldn't overcome the loss. Frankl, instead of offering grief processing techniques or medication, asked a single question: what would have happened if you had died first and your wife had survived? The doctor immediately replied, "Oh, that would have been terrible for her. She would have suffered immensely." Frankl then said, "You see, you spared her that suffering, but now you have to pay the price by surviving and mourning her death." The doctor said nothing more, shook Frankl's hand and left the office. His suffering didn't disappear, but it now had meaning. He wasn't suffering pointlessly. He was suffering to spare someone he deeply loved from an even worse fate. This shift in perspective, this discovery of meaning even in pain, transformed paralyzing suffering into a significant sacrifice. The desire to vanish from the world, to disappear, to no longer be here, often stems from this inability to see meaning in the suffering we are experiencing. When pain seems absurd, random, purposeless, it becomes unbearable in ways pure physical pain never would. Frankl observed that people can endure extraordinary levels of physical pain when that pain has clear meaning for them, like the pain of childbirth, the pain of an athlete training for an important goal, the pain of surgery that will save a life. But even lesser pains become unbearable when they seem senseless, when they are perceived as random cosmic cruelty or undeserved punishment. The issue is not primarily the objective intensity of suffering, but the absence or presence of meaning in that suffering. And here we arrive at one of Frankl's most liberating discoveries. You don't need to eliminate all suffering to have a meaningful life. You don't need to be happy all the time. You don't need to achieve conventional success. You don't need to solve all your problems. You need to find or create meaning, and through that meaning, even your difficulties, your limitations, your losses can become part of a larger narrative that makes your existence worthwhile. Frankl developed specific therapeutic techniques to help people caught in thought patterns that blocked them from finding meaning. One of the most fascinating is paradoxical intention, where the therapist asks the patient to intentionally do or desire exactly what they fear most. For example, someone with chronic insomnia who desperately wants to sleep is instructed to try to stay awake as long as possible. A person afraid of trembling in public is encouraged to try to tremble even more. The effect is often liberating because it breaks the cycle of anticipatory anxiety that perpetuates the problem. The person discovers they can laugh at themselves, that they can adopt a different stance toward their symptom, that they aren't completely at the mercy of their fears. Another technique is de-reflection, which shifts a person's focus away from themselves and onto something or someone outside of them. Frankl observed that many psychological problems intensify precisely because a person becomes hyper-focused on them, caught in a loop of obsessive self-reflection that only makes things worse. By redirecting attention to a meaningful task, to another person, to a project larger than oneself, symptoms often diminish naturally. This connects with the concept of self-transcendence, one of the most fundamental human capacities according to Frankl. To be human is always to point towards something beyond oneself, towards something or someone other than yourself. The more you forget yourself by dedicating yourself to one cause or another person, the more fully human you become, and paradoxically, the more you realize yourself. The deliberate pursuit of happiness or self-fulfillment tends to fail precisely because it turns the self into an object of constant concern. Genuine happiness arises as an unintentional byproduct of a life dedicated to something larger than yourself. If these ideas are resonating deeply with you, if you feel you've finally found someone who understands this quest for genuine meaning, subscribe to this channel. Here we explore Frankl's thought and that of other humanist philosophers weekly, offering real answers to the existential void so many of us carry in silence. You don't have to walk alone on this journey of self-discovery. This channel exists to create a space where deep questions about existence, meaning, and responsibility can be explored without judgment, where you can find practical tools based on decades of serious clinical work, and where a community of people brave enough to question, seek, and grow comes together. Click that subscribe button and become part of this community. Together, we'll explore the deeper dimensions of the human experience and discover that even in suffering, there are pathways to meaning. Frankl made a crucial distinction between different types of values through which we can discover meaning. There are creative values which we realize through our deeds, work, creations, contributions to the world. There are experiential values which we discover through what we experience, especially through love and beauty. And there are attitudinal values which we manifest through the stance we adopt in the face of inevitable suffering. This hierarchy is important because it means that even when all other avenues are blocked, when you can no longer create or do anything, when illness or external circumstances eliminate possibilities for action, the pathway of attitudinal values still remains. You can always choose how you face your situation, what meaning you attribute to it, what kind of person you are amidst it. Frankl told of a young man who became paralyzed after an accident. Initially devastated, he eventually found meaning in being an example of dignity and courage for other patients at the rehabilitation center, in demonstrating that life can have value even when severe limitations are imposed. His suffering didn't disappear, but it ceased to be suffering without meaning and became part of a significant personal mission. This is not passive conformity or defeated resignation. It is the active transformation of tragedy into triumph through the one freedom that remains when all others have been taken away, the freedom of attitude. But perhaps Frankl's most profound contribution is his understanding of the uniqueness and irrepeatability of each moment and each life. He emphasized that every situation in life carries a specific demand, a unique calling that only you can answer. No one can answer it for you. No one can discover your meaning for you. You are absolutely irreplaceable in your existential singularity, and every moment that passes, every decision you make or fail to make, is sculpting your life into a form that can never be altered again. Frankl used the metaphor that life is like a film being recorded. Every moment we live is being eternally recorded in the past. You cannot change what has already happened, but you can continue to create the future of that film through your present choices. And one day, when your life ends, the complete film will be there, preserved in the eternity of the past, showing exactly what kind of person you were, what values you realized, how you responded to the challenges you faced. This temporal perspective completely transforms anxiety about the future. Frankl argued that our culture is obsessed with the future, always postponing real life for some later moment when we will finally have success, recognition, security. But real life is happening now, in this moment, in this concrete situation, and every moment lived with meaning. Every small decision to do what is right instead of what is easy. Every time you choose meaning over comfort, you are creating something imperishable, something that no one can take away from you because it has already become part of your realized past. The urge to disappear from the world often comes with a feeling that nothing matters, that any effort is futile, that your existence is insignificant in the grand cosmic scheme of things. Frankl faced this nihilism head-on with a question. Who says your life needs cosmic significance to have real meaning? The meaning of your life isn't measured by abstract universal criteria, but by your capacity to respond to the concrete demands your unique situation presents. You don't need to save the world. You don't need to leave a lasting legacy. You don't need to be remembered by future generations. You need to do what only you can do in the situation you find yourself in, with the resources you have available. A person caring for a sick family member might be realizing as profound a meaning as any philosopher writing treatises or any political leader changing nations. Meaning isn't found in external grandeur, but in internal authenticity, in the correspondence between who you are and what you do, between the values you profess and the concrete choices you manifest in the world. Frankl often quoted Hillel's words, "If I am not for myself, who will be for me? But if I am only for myself, then what am I? And if not now, when?" These questions capture the essential tension of human existence. You are responsible for yourself. No one can live your life for you. But at the same time, you only become fully human when you transcend your own self towards others or a cause. There's yet another crucial aspect of Frankl's thought that deserves deep attention: his view on guilt and existential responsibility. He rejected both the notion that we are completely determined by external forces and the view that we are absolutely free without any conditioning. Frankl proposed that there's a space of freedom between stimulus and response, a moment where we can choose how to react even when we can't choose what happens. We are conditioned by biology, personal history, social circumstances, but we are not completely determined by these factors. There's always a margin of choice, however small, and it's in this margin that our essential humanity lies. Therefore, we are responsible. Responsible not for everything that happens to us, but for how we respond to what happens, for what meaning we attribute to events, for what kind of person we become through our choices. This responsibility is both heavy and liberating. Heavy because it means we can't completely blame external factors for our condition. Liberating because it means we always have some power. We can always make some difference, however small, through our present choices. Frankl observed that existential guilt, when appropriate, can be tremendously motivating. Not the neurotic guilt that paralyzes, but the real guilt for not being the person you could be, for not realizing the potentials you possess, for wasting your existence on trivialities when you could be creating genuine meaning. This guilt calls you forward, summons you to a more authentic and responsible version of yourself. A particularly touching clinical case involved a woman who had spent decades feeling her life was utterly meaningless because she never had children and considered herself a failure. Frankl helped redirect her attention to all the other ways she had contributed to the world, the work she'd done, the people she'd helped, the values she'd manifested in her everyday actions. He also helped her see that even the pain of not having had children could have meaning if she chose to use that experience to be especially understanding and welcoming to other women in similar situations. What seemed like pure negation and failure transformed into an opportunity for a specific kind of contribution and human connection that only someone with that experience could offer. This illustrates a central principle of logotherapy. Almost any situation, however limiting it may seem, offers possibilities for discovering meaning if you look with enough attention and radical honesty. This isn't about naive optimism or forced positive thinking. It's about a genuine investigation into what real possibilities exist, what values can be realized, what attitude you can choose even when the choices for action are severely restricted. Frankl also had profound insights into love and relationships as pathways to meaning. He described love not as mere feeling or attraction, but as the capacity to see another person's deepest potential, to perceive who they can become, and to help them realize that potential. To love someone is to see them as unique and irreplaceable, to grasp their essential singularity in a way no one else can. And this deep understanding of another person reveals something about the meaning of existence. We matter not because we are useful or productive, but simply because we exist in our unrepeatable uniqueness. A person who loses the meaning of their own life has often lost connection with their own uniqueness, has started to see themselves as interchangeable, as just another cog in the social machine. Rediscovering meaning often involves rediscovering that you are absolutely singular, that there's something only you can contribute, a perspective only you possess, a combination of experiences and capacities that exists only in you. And when you love someone deeply, you experience this truth directly in the other person. You see that they are not replaceable, that their specific existence matters absolutely. And through this experience with another, you can eventually arrive at the same understanding about yourself. If you're starting to see your own life in a new light through these ideas, if something here is awakening a different understanding about your own existential void and the desire to disappear that you sometimes feel, please hit the like button on this video so more people can discover these transformative insights from Frankl. Every like helps the algorithm show this content to someone who might desperately need to hear that there's a way through the void, that suffering can have meaning, that life, even in the most difficult circumstances, offers possibilities for discovering genuine significance. Viktor Frankl emphasized that logotherapy doesn't offer ready-made solutions or universal formulas, because meaning is always situational and personal. No one can tell you the meaning of your life. You have to discover it through genuine attention to the demands of your specific situation. But he did offer general guidance. Ask not, What can I get from life? But rather, what is life asking of me? Flip the question. You're not here to judge life. Life is questioning you at every moment through the concrete situations you face, and your answer to these questions doesn't come primarily through contemplation or abstract philosophical reflection, but through responsible action and concrete decisions. You discover the meaning of your life by living it, not by endlessly thinking about it. Reflection certainly has its place, but at some point you need to act, you need to respond, you need to take responsibility for your choices. Existential emptiness often feeds on existential procrastination, on indefinitely postponing the moment of truly committing to something, dedicating yourself to someone, taking responsibility for your own life. While you're endlessly analyzing options, comparing possibilities, waiting for absolute certainty before acting, life is passing by. Unique moments are being lost. Opportunities to realize meaning are being squandered. Frankl observed that in modern society, there's a growing tendency toward what he called collectivist and conformist thinking. Collectivist thinking is when you define your identity and values entirely in terms of belonging to a group, losing your unique individuality. Conformist thinking is when you simply adopt the dominant values of society without critical questioning, doing what everyone else does because everyone else does it, not because you genuinely chose those values. Both tendencies are escapes from the existential responsibility of discovering and creating your own meaning. It's easier, more comfortable, to let the group or tradition decide for you. But this escape comes at a high price. You lose connection to your unique calling, to what specifically you should be doing in the world. And from this loss of connection, existential emptiness is born. You're living someone else's life, following a script written by others, pursuing goals that were never genuinely yours. How could that feel meaningful? How could that fill the deep yearning for authentic purpose? Frankl insisted that each person needs to have the courage to stand out when necessary, to question received values, to seek their own path even when it means solitude or misunderstanding. Not out of adolescent rebellion or superficial contrast, but out of deep fidelity to their own existential truth. One of the most fascinating paradoxes of logotherapy is that it works precisely by not focusing directly on symptom relief or the pursuit of happiness. When you stop chasing happiness directly and start seeking meaning, happiness often emerges as a byproduct. When you stop obsessively focusing on eliminating your anxiety or depression and start dedicating yourself to something larger than yourself, the symptoms often diminish naturally. This happens because many modern psychological symptoms are precisely consequences of existential emptiness. You're anxious not because something is malfunctioning in your brain, but because your life lacks clear direction and compelling purpose. You're depressed not necessarily due to a chemical imbalance, but because you're living an existence that contradicts your deepest values, that offers no opportunities to realize your unique potential. When you address these problems by finding and creating meaning, you're dealing with the root cause, not just masking symptoms. This doesn't mean medication or other interventions are never necessary. Frankl recognized that there are genuine cases of mental illness that require medical treatment, but he insisted that there's also a huge category of suffering that is fundamentally existential, not psychological or biological, and that this suffering responds to the search for meaning in ways that no medication or conventional therapeutic technique can achieve. Let's return now to the initial question, to the desire to vanish from the world, to disappear, to no longer be here. In light of everything we've explored, this desire reveals itself not as moral weakness or a personal defect, but as a specific symptom. It's the cry of a frustrated will to meaning. It's the manifestation of a life that has lost connection with its unique purpose. It's the inevitable consequence of existing without a compelling why. And the solution, while not easy or quick, is available. You need to stop asking what you can get from life and start responding to what life is asking of you in this specific moment, in this unique situation that only you are facing. You need to recognize that even when all avenues seem blocked, when external circumstances are devastating, you still possess the fundamental freedom to choose your attitude, to decide what kind of person you will be amidst suffering, to extract meaning even from inevitable pain. You need to accept your existential responsibility. No one can discover your meaning for you. No one can live your life for you. You are absolutely irreplaceable in your uniqueness. And this uniqueness carries as much weight as possibility. The weight of knowing you cannot escape yourself, that your choices definitively matter, that what you do with your life is being eternally etched into the accomplished past, and the possibility that there is always something you can do, always some value you can realize, always a margin of choice where your freedom can manifest. Frankl survived circumstances in which all meaning should have been destroyed, and precisely there, in literal hell on earth, he discovered the deepest truths about human existence and about the indestructibility of meaning when a person maintains the will to find it. If he could find reasons to go on in Auschwitz, you can find reasons to go on where you are now. Not easy reasons, not cheap comfort, but genuine meaning that transforms even your suffering into part of a significant journey. So the question I'm posing to you isn't, are you happy, or is your life comfortable? But rather, are you responding to what life is asking of you right now? Are you living out the values that only you can fulfill? Are you being the unique, irreplaceable person that only you can be? If the answer is no, if you're running from your existential responsibility, if you're wasting your uniqueness on conformity or escape, then the emptiness you feel makes perfect sense. It's not cosmic punishment. It's simply the natural feedback of a life lived in contradiction with your deepest truth. But this can change. Not magically, not instantly, but definitely. Through one choice after another to seek meaning instead of just pleasure, to take responsibility instead of blaming circumstances, to dedicate yourself to something bigger than yourself instead of remaining trapped in sterile self-reflection. The desire to disappear from the world can transform into a will to be fully present in the world, not because the world has become easy or you're happy all the time, but because you've discovered there's something only you can contribute, that your singular existence absolutely matters, that life is calling you to respond in ways no one else can. And when you answer that call, when you live with purpose even amidst hardship, you experience a kind of fulfillment that superficial happiness could never provide. You become a living testament that human existence, even with all its inevitable suffering, can be profoundly meaningful, radically valuable, and worthy of being lived with courage and authenticity. Share in the comments a moment when you found meaning in the midst of suffering. Your experience might inspire others on this journey of self-discovery. And if you truly want to continue exploring these transformative ideas that can completely change your relationship with existence, subscribe to this channel now and become part of this community of people brave enough to seek genuine meaning instead of superficial happiness.